Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and I have just hit 8,000 subscribers as of this video, which is absolutely incredible, and I can't thank you guys enough. But I figured, you know what would be more fitting than an 8K Q&A. So I asked you guys to send me questions that you have for me personally, and I am going to answer them, well, at least as many as possible. I got over 100 questions, and I'm just hoping to at least get 50 in this video. If not, of course, I can make a second part if you guys would like to see all of the questions answered. But without further ado, let's get in to the first question. GTC Coasters asks, what's the best lateral moment on a coaster? Mine is personally Ghost Rider's Helix. Now, I can't say what the best lateral moment on any coaster is because I've only been on 109, but I can say my favorite and the best lateral moment on any coaster I've experienced is definitely the same with Ghost Rider's final Helix. So you just pull sustained lateral forces to the left for a good 20 seconds or so. It's pretty impressive. Space Mountaineer 92 asks, when will you return to a theme park? Immediately once they reopen, or play it safely? Now, this is something that I've been questioning myself quite a bit as of late, because I want to be able to get videos out for you guys, but at the same time, safety does come first. So personally, I think I may go to a park maybe once every couple of weeks at this rate, when they start to reopen, hopefully around July or August. But as of right now, I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking maybe a visit every couple of weeks, and it depends on what park opens first and how they open and everything that's put in place also. And I don't think I'd be visiting for very long. I don't think I'm going to spend a full 16-hour day at a lot of these parks with everything that's going on at the moment. But yeah, I think right now I'm not too sure about returning immediately, or at least for many times over, you know, a short span. The Owl Creek asks, when are they going to demolish Fiesta Village and build a new dark ride? Not a question for me. Theme Park Insanity asks, can we see more of your music side? You know, like instrumental skills? Sure. Nathan Havens asks, was there a specific date or attraction that for you sparked your interest in the industry? If so, which one? Now, I gotta say, it's tough for me to say. I grew up as a huge fan of Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was a kid. Like, I'm talking 3 and 4 years old. I was playing it nonstop. And then I'd go to Disneyland pretty much every week that I was alive. My first visit to Disneyland was when I was 12 days old, so I've been pretty much raised in a theme park atmosphere. Now, for coasters in specific, I think I didn't really get into them until I was about 15, 16. I always used to love watching them, but I was always terrified to ride them. And then one day I ended up at Magic Mountain, and I was trying to impress my girlfriend's dad. So I rode X2 and everything that park had to offer at Magic Mountain. And after riding X2, there was pretty much nothing that could really scare me besides maybe Tatsu's Lift Hill. I think X2 was a great barrier breaker for me. And then the ride I was looking forward to most and that I enjoyed the most after that first visit was definitely Twisted Colossus. And it made me delve deeper into this community as well as this just idea of loving coasters and making it almost like a half lifestyle. Constructing Blocks is asked, when you first grayed out on a coaster, what did you think? At that point, I just kind of thought, wow, it's really forceful, and squeeze. That's pretty much all I thought when I first grayed out. I don't even know what I first grayed out on, to be honest with you. It was probably like Tatsu's Pretzel Loop, or yeah, I don't know, honestly, but I'm sure I was just more like, well, I'm graying out because I knew what it was, really, and I should probably clench. Wasabi Riot asked, thoughts on the Raptor? Well, do you mean the one at Islands of Adventure? Like Velasa coaster, right? I mean, it's looking pretty good. You can check out a video on that if you want. Also, he asked, could I say hi if I ever see you at any park? Totally. Go ahead. Say hi to me. I have no problem with you guys coming up and saying hi and being like, hey, Drew, I'm a subscriber. It's awesome to meet you. Love what you do. I have no problem with you guys doing that. Now, I can assure you, I know what you're thinking when you see, one of your favorite coaster YouTubers at a park. I've been in that situation myself. It usually is a little scared and not sure if you want to talk to them because you might feel bad. No, don't feel that way at all. Just come straight up to me and introduce yourself, and I won't have a problem. Mickey Mouse asks a Knott's Berry Farm question. When was your first time going to Knott's Berry Farm? I don't remember it. I was probably in between the ages of 2 and 5. The first time I remember going, I think I was about 4 or so, maybe even 6. I really don't know. But I used to go because my cousin would perform there once a year. So I'd always go to the park. I'd ride like Calico Mine Ride, Timber Mountain Log Ride, but I wouldn't ride much else. I was scared to ride any coaster bigger than that until I was like 14. It was great. Blueberry asks, what do you think of Timberline Twister having more airtime than Accelerator? Star Welcome Travel asks, how long can a park like Knott's survive on 30 to 40% capacity? What will go up first, admission prices or capacity limits? My guess would be capacity limits for that second part of the question, but for the first part of the question, I don't see why Knott's can't survive long term with 30 to 40% capacity. Because if you think about it, most days barely even hit 30 to 40% capacity. So if they're hitting that amount of people every single day, they should be fine. I mean, on a lot of days that I'm at Knott's, we're talking they're only at 10 or 15% capacity, and they're still operating those days like 100 days of the year. So I don't think there's really any need to worry about that. Greg Charles asks, what's your favorite airtime moment on Steel Vengeance? I might get a little hate for this, which is kind of sad actually. But I would either say the top hat, that first big airtime moment, or I would also potentially say that off-axis airtime hill, or the wave turn near the end of the ride. Those are my 3 favorite airtime moments. Kind of hard to choose between. Depends how I'm feeling, but usually I'd say, well, I don't know, one of the 3. Fun Studios asks, what is the most airtime you've gotten on a coaster? Mine was West Coast Racers High Five and the Apocalypse Small Airtime Bumps. And what is the biggest buzzkill you've gotten on a coaster? Well, to answer the first part of that, the most airtime, I guess on Steel Vengeance, that it has like the most extended airtime that I've ever experienced, besides maybe one of Millennium Force's big airtime hills. But the most airtime I've gotten, if you want to classify it as most being like the most powerful, definitely on Magnum XL 200, no question about that. Absolutely insane. And the biggest buzzkill I've ever gotten on a coaster, I don't know necessarily. Maybe like Wicked Twister, like with just the headbanging that I got, maybe. I don't know, tough to say though. Jacob Pedersen asked, would you do an RCT2 scenario playthrough? If you guys want to see it, let me know. Great American Coasters asked, what international coaster would you like to have at Magic Mountain? That's a great question. I've never really even thought about bringing other coasters over to Magic Mountain, but international coaster, so outside of the US, I would have to say something like Expedition G-Force would be really cool at that park. Something else that would be great would be something like Silver Star, so like a B&M Hyper might be a good choice. Ooh, DC Rivals Hyper Coaster, that'd be kind of cool to see. There's a lot of coasters that I think fit the criteria of being a great fit at Magic Mountain, especially internationally. So great question. Coaster Goat asks, what is your favorite roller coaster restraints? That's a great question. It's tough for me to say. There's a lot of restraints that I actually really like. I mean, I actually don't mind a lot of over-the-shoulder restraints, like a lot of people, which I kind of find funny. And I'm talking about pretty much any over-the-shoulder restraint ever. But also it kind of helps because it hits right here instead of right here, so I don't get any head banging or even neck banging. It just collapses on my collarbone, so I don't have to really worry about any of that roughness that a lot of people experience with over-the-shoulder restraints. But I would say my favorite restraints, it's tough to say. The buzz bars are great on a lot of PTC Woodies, but I would say probably my favorite restraints of all time would be probably the Intamin T-bar restraints that I've experienced on Millennium Force, Accelerator, and Top Thrill Dragster. Brian Sanchez asks, what first drew, no pun intended, I like it, you to roller coasters, and what made you decide to make videos about them? Roller Coaster Tycoon from a young age always drew me to coasters, but to decide making videos about them, and parks too, was really just the fact that I kept going to parks like twice or 3 times a week, and I figured it would be cool to be able to take people along with me on my fun park adventures and maybe even keep them informed about what was going on at the Southern California parks. Like at Knott's, no one was doing vlogs there or any videos really, and even Magic Mountain for a time there was like nothing there content wise, and now there's a plethora of this stuff, so it's really cool to see that. But yeah, it was just really just to take people along and maybe keep them informed, or even let them know what are some of the hidden gems at some of these parks that they might be visiting in the future. DucksFan_11 asked, do you think the Wild Arctic replacement will be delayed? I'm not sure. At this rate, it's kind of hard to say. A lot of things are going to be delayed over the next year, just because of everything that's going on in the world right now. But another thing is we really don't know what's going on in general with any Wild Arctic replacement at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. And he also asks, what's your most anticipated coaster type you haven't ridden? That's a great question. I would have to say B&M Hyper Coasters. That's the only B&M styled coaster that I haven't ridden yet. So I can't wait to get on something like Candemonium or Mako, or even like Nitro at Great Adventure. California Thrills asks, most insane moment on a coaster. That one's kind of tough for me, but I would say either the first drop on X2 in the back row, the second Stangle Dive on Maverick, the second to last Airtime Hill on Magnum, or Tatsu's Pretzel Loop. I think those are the most like insane moments on a coaster. Maybe even Accelerator's launch too. I would definitely put that up there. But yeah, those are my most insane coaster elements. David Scarpa asked, what kind of coaster does California need most, and where would it fit best? I think something that's really just floater based in its entirety. So something like a B&M Hyper, or something along those lines. It would fit best probably at California's Great America, if anything. Are you looking to head down to SeaWorld San Diego once Emperor opens? Oh, heck yes, Caitlin King, I am. I can't wait, honestly. I can't wait to either be there for pass holder preview or just opening day in general. I'm really excited for Emperor. Evil Griffing asks, what are your favorite theme park restaurants you've eaten at, and what is your favorite item on the menu at that restaurant? My favorite restaurants would probably be like Cafe Orleans at Disneyland is up there for sure. Some other restaurants I've eaten at in parks that I adore would include like Knott's Chicken Dinner Restaurant. I know that's not technically in the park, but I kind of tie it in to the park, obviously. But yeah, those are probably my big two, and the meals to get at those restaurants, I would definitely say, are the Monte Cristo at Cafe Orleans. So good. So good. And then if you're going to a chicken dinner restaurant, you got to get chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, biscuits, some chicken noodle soup, that's also amazing, and then of course some boysenberry pie. I like the classic setup for that restaurant. Michael Villapando asks, prediction for next coaster or flat ride at Knott's? For coaster, I have no clue. Probably something family oriented, if anything. They've already got enough thrill rides, I think, to fill us coaster enthusiasts up. That sounds weird. But if it was a flat ride, I would love to see something like a Gerstlauer air race? No, what's the one where you control yourself? Oh, I can't remember. But whatever that is, I can't wait to get one of those in the US, especially at least closer to California. Thoughts on the 2021 Raptor? You mean Velocicoaster? Because That's looking really good. I mean, have you seen the video about Velocicoaster yet? It looks so good. Pacific's Pegasus asked, if you could, would you redesign the first half of Ghost Rider to be better? What? The first half is great. I honestly can't think of anything that I would redesign. Maybe make the third drop a little steeper. I mean, that's about it, really, that I can think of. I think the rest of the first half is awesome. I mean, it does slow down in bits, but that's fine. Vector, oh yeah, asked. I love that. What are tips for Accelerator? Like stuff to prepare for and stuff like that. So to prepare for Accelerator, I would definitely say ride Pony Express or Montezuma, especially Montezuma's Revenge, right before going to Accelerator. I think that always acclimates the body to that launching feeling a little better. But for Accelerator, keep your head back. Make sure you breathe is a big one, because if you've already got your breath taken away before you get going, it's not going to end up too good for you. It might be a little more intense than you'd bargain for. So I would definitely do stuff like that, like riding Montezuma first, or even just making sure to breathe, I think are the biggest things that I could think of. Cruise the Coaster Kid asked, what was your first roller coaster you had ever ridden? I'm pretty sure it was Timberline Twister at Knott's, and if not, it was probably like Thunder Mountain at Disneyland. Devin Hawks asked, what's your favorite ride at Magic Mountain? It's a little classified at the moment, because I've got a video all about that coming up in the next couple weeks. So I would definitely say, though, it is between X2, Tatsu, Twisted Colossus, West Coast Racers, Batman, Superman, Roadrunner Express, Scream, Goliath. Yeah, one of those. Mark Tudor asks, what were your plans to do this year? Well, if you're talking about travel-wise, I actually had a lot of plans. I was going to be doing more trips than I ever had before. And starting in March, I was going to go to Northern California, go back to CGA and Discovery Kingdom. April, I was going to go to Lagoon again and potentially the S&S Factory, which would have been really cool. Then May, I was going to come back to San Antonio, which would have been really awesome to get back to San Antonio and finally ride everything at SeaWorld. Oh my gosh. But then I was also thinking at times to go to Hollywood Nights and even CoasterCon, potentially, if it was in my cards. It just money wasn't working out too well at that time to make that 100% happen, because I was doing all the trips prior. But the big thing that right now is not going to happen is going to Florida for a week and a half, which is what we were going to do probably in August sometime, me and a couple of my friends, and we were going to check out Iron Gwazi, Icebreaker, even Hagrid's magical motorbike creature, the long name, that one. But we were going to check out almost everything that Florida has to offer within reason of price, at least. So we probably wouldn't have been able to go to like both Universal parks or all 6 Disney properties. Sorry, I should say 3 Universal parks, because we got to go to Volcano Bay, right? But yeah, that was the big thing that kind of got scratched for this year, sadly. Eat Your Cereal asks, how big is your Q&A? Well, I've currently been recording for 25 minutes, and I've only answered like maybe an eighth of the questions. So I think it ended up tallying at around 104 questions in total. Theme Park Wizard asked, when do you think Knott's will be open? At this point, it's kind of hard to say. Earliest estimate in my mind would probably be around late July. But we'll just have to wait and see. It is just the beginning of June right now, so we've got a lot of time until then. So I think it just depends on how everything plays out in the next couple weeks. Brandon Tabibian asks, favorite and least favorite color scheme on a roller coaster? That's a great question. I love that. Probably favorite color scheme would be maybe Accelerator, or Hang Time's got a great color scheme. Twisted Colossus has an awesome color scheme. So does X2. Wonder Woman at Fiesta Texas definitely has an awesome color scheme, I would say, as well. And then Joker's got a pretty nice one at Discovery Kingdom. Not the best, but it's up there. Now for least favorite color scheme, probably veering into like the original color scheme for Accelerator or the original color scheme for Tatsu. But I would definitely say one of my least favorite color schemes of all time is Steel Vengeance. I just don't like that color for the rails, honestly. I don't really think it looks that good. Jack Thorstead asked, will you go back to the Lagoon because it is open now? I'm not planning to go back to Lagoon this summer or even this year at this point. I mean, it would be cool to get back on Cannibal and experience the park, hopefully in a little better light than last time. But with everything going on, and I just don't really see a point at the moment, especially with like Primordial hopefully opening next year. So if anything, I might go to Lagoon next year just to check out, of course, Primordial and then see everything running at a little more normal pace. Noah Berlin asked, what do you think is the best coaster opening in 2020 besides Iron Gwazi? Now, I personally don't know if I'd even say Iron Gwazi is the best coaster opening this year. I take that back. I'd say that, yeah. But besides Iron Gwazi, I would probably say either Candemonium, Pantheon, or Jersey Devil Coaster are going to be the best besides Iron Gwazi. Which, me being a Raptor lover, I'd probably say Jersey Devil Coaster, but parts of me just want to say Candemonium or Pantheon, just because. West Coast Coasters asks, Airtime Thrills or El Toro Ryan? Ooh, well, I don't want to start beef. I don't want to start beef with either of them, you know? But then again, the only person I've met in person out of the two of them is Chris from Airtime Thrills. And he's a really nice dude. I think I'm going to have to go with Chris. Don't tell Ryan. Don't tell Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan. Don't tell Ryan. Gene Bronson asks, do you have interest in Japanese coasters? Yes, 100%. I can't wait to go. I'm hoping to go in like 2023 or 4, but we'll see. But I can't wait to get on, of course, like Hakuge, Takabisha, Steel Dragon 2000, and of course, Ejinaika. There is so much that they offer over in Japan that I can't wait to check out for myself, and honestly, I can't wait to get over to the Disney and Universal Park as well. Chance Nelson asks, how many times have you been to Knott's Berry Farm? It's in the hundreds. Probably upwards of 120 times throughout my lifetime, which doesn't seem like too much, but then again, 110 of those times have been in the past 3 years. So I think that puts it in a little better perspective of my frequency of visits. Gabriel Martin asks, what roller coasters do you want to see in Nano Coaster form? I would love to see Twisted Colossus in Nano Coaster form. I'd love to see also Superman would be kind of cool in Nano Coaster form. I know a little simplistic, but it'd be kind of cool to have. And another thing that would be awesome is Accelerator for sure in Nano Coaster form. That would be awesome. And pretty much anything from Knott's. Cole Melendos, I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering everyone's name. I really apologize. But he asks, what is your social security number? Well, our good pals at Theme Park ERT ask, how many instruments do you play? Proficiently, winky face. Well, let me show you. So, it may or may not be 3 a.m., so I'm not going to play all of my instruments at the moment, because I don't want to wake anybody up. Luke Risco asks, what year do you think a coaster will break the 500-foot barrier, or do you think there will never be a Terra coaster? I don't see a 500-foot coaster within the next decade, probably, at this rate, which really does stink, because it would be awesome to see something like a Polar Coaster or of course a T-Rex model come out, but I don't think it makes much sense money-wise at the moment. So I'm gonna guess at best we'll see a 500-foot tall coaster in about 8 or 9 years. All right, and this is probably going to be the last question that I have for this first part, because I've been talking for over 35 minutes at this rate. And I know I'm going to edit this down like crazy, but I've run out of storage on my phone. But Chad Delanzo asks, do you have any plans for an East Coast trip? Six Flags Great Adventure, Carowinds, King's Dominion, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Hershey Park, etc., etc., etc. Yes. And you'll find out more, hopefully, soon. But I want to thank you guys for watching this first part of my Q&A for 8K, and I hope you guys have enjoyed me answering some of your guys' questions. I'm going to go through, I think, and do a second and maybe even a third part if I have to in the future, just to make sure I can answer everyone's question to its fullest extent. But I do want to thank you guys so much for bringing me to 8,000 subscribers. You have no idea how much it means to me. And of course, thank you for watching this video and sending in questions. And if you have any more questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments below. I'll try and answer as many as I can, just so you guys can get all your questions answered. And of course, make sure to stay tuned for what we have on the channel soon. We're gonna have more reviews, as well as some ranking videos and tier list videos coming out in the near future. And of course, we'll have some more gaming content with Roller Coaster Tycoon showing up again very soon after. But thank you so much again for everything you guys do. But until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.